And we are live. Welcome, everyone. My name is Niki Lopez of Niki Lopez Creative, and you're watching The Circle, where every Tuesday, 8:30 to 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I'm talking to artists, activists, social entrepreneurs, people doing great things around the world today. And I have a very special guest today, Dr. Shivani Gupta. Thank you for being here.
For sure. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely, absolutely. And so while we're getting online, we have, so Dr. Shivani Gupta is an Ayurvedic practitioner. Am I saying it right?
Yeah, I say it Ayurvedic.
Okay. And she's also founder of Fusionary Formulas, an author, a speaker, and a social entrepreneur. Welcome, welcome. Do a lot of great work.
Thank you. Thank you. I try.
Absolutely. So we've met a few years back in the Meena group, which is Meena Shah. She does women's personal and business development many years ago. Both of us are graduates of the Meena Sisterhood and stayed in contact. So I'm really grateful that you were available to take this. What was your introduction? What came first? You being an author and a speaker, or an Ayurvedic practitioner? Like, what came first for you?
You know, it's funny. I have always been obsessed with health and wellness. And like most people, when you go into holistic health, it's typically because of your own health issue. So I grew up going to India every year, and I'd be sick every year with colds and coughs, and they'd give me antibiotics. Or I'd go to India and get like horrible GI system sicknesses, and they just throw more drugs and antibiotics at it. And finally, I was in India in college, and I was like, you know, what is this thing called yoga and Ayurveda that we in India think is so amazing? I'm going to study it. And as I began studying it, I started embodying it, practicing it. And my goal was, after my first child, I thought, you know, I really need to write a book on pregnancy and Ayurveda, because people have no idea how much great wisdom is here. And we could have so many more Zen healthy babies. So my intention was always write a book and become an author. And then I ended up doing my master's and PhD in Ayurvedic sciences. And my PhD thesis, I didn't end up doing it on the pregnancy topic. I did it on turmeric. And so because I fell so deeply in love with turmeric, this opportunity came about to create a turmeric supplement. So I kind of like veered off in that direction. So sometimes life just like walks you through a journey and a path that you didn't expect. I really thought I'd be like that girl who taught on pregnancy. And it turns out I'm really that girl who teaches inflammation and turmeric instead.
Wow, wow. And I just want to acknowledge we have some people coming through. We have G saying hello. Hey to everyone. And just for a moment, we're streaming live right now on Niki Lopez Creative, as well as YouTube Live, as well as Outclick Magazine. So, and Outclick is also saying hello. So today is my first time doing Outclick as well. So just very, you know, I'm excited and grateful for that. And we have Valerie Atkinson. She's calling in from Virginia, I think it is. So welcome, welcome all. If you have comments and questions, definitely put it in the chat and we'll get to them momentarily. So it's very interesting how you think you have like a plan. And, you know, some people, they're religious. They said, oh, you have a plan. God has a plan, or just, you know, the universe, whatever you relate to, has something different. And then we, you know, do you relate to like feeling everything that you've gone through kind of fits into what you're doing now?
It does. And it's just crazy how it does. So I always wanted to write books. I wrote one. I never wanted to become a speaker, but I did. And it turns out I love it. I love speaking on stage. I get so much gratification out of teaching Ayurveda to people. I morphed that topic of conscious pregnancy more into self-care, kind of evolved with me. Now that I'm a mom of a 6 and a 9-year-old, I need more self-care. So I've been able to really teach to that message over the last few years. And now that we're in this special lifetime, what's happening right now, I'm teaching more towards inflammation and immunity, because that's what people need to hear. That's what I need to practice the most to boost my own immune system. And so it's just funny, like you kind of just keep landing, I think, at those main topics and areas where you're supposed to. I love doing videos online, and that's kind of the only method of teaching right now. So it's good that all my skill sets kind of led me to being right here to teaching this topic right now. which is cool.
Absolutely. And we have a comment from G said, great story, Dr. Gupta. I really love how you were able to tap into your culture and use it to help others.
Thank you.
Yes, yes, yes. What is, so for some people, I know you kind of touched on it briefly, but someone who's never heard of Ayurvedic practitioner, what is that? What is that practice?
Sure. So Ayurveda is a system of medicine and health and healing from India that's over 5,000 years old. So if you've heard of acupuncture, that's part of the umbrella called traditional Chinese medicine, TCM. And they will teach energy medicine practices like Qigong. They'll teach herbology. They'll use herbs and different things with, different areas of medicine for you. So within Ayurveda, it's like a whole system of having health. It means the science of life. So it teaches like diet, nutrition, and the way to eat, food combination. The whole foundation of it is the digestive fire and your gut health, which we know ties to brain health. It ties to immune system, everything else. It teaches herbology, detoxification, self-care for every day, like so many different areas. And so I try to take all of that and bring it down to what we really need to do to have a healthier body, feel better, have more energy, have more productivity, more focus, and those things that we really want.
Okay. And would you consider that the opposite of modern medicine, or does it work in conjunction with it? Like, what do you consider that?
I think it works really well in conjunction with it. Western medicine is so good when you have a problem that needs a quick solution, or you have an acute problem or a surgical problem or a really big problem that's got to be handled and it's life or death. I find that Ayurveda is so good when it comes to prevention. It's like a whole preventive lifestyle that you can live throughout your life so that you hopefully don't end up at the hospital with, those diagnoses and all that stuff.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you. And for, how does that tie into your Fusionary Formulas? Like, what is that company about? Can you, talk to us a little bit about that?
Sure. So when I was studying Ayurveda, I'm like a nerd and I love practicing health stuff on myself. I love being a guinea pig. So everything I learned, I tried. And eventually I realized, I don't think everyone else is going to do an hour plus of like exercise, self-care, making herbal teas for themselves, making little concoctions out of turmeric and all this stuff. Not everyone's willing to put all that time in, or not everyone has the ability to, based on our work and life schedules and the demands of that. So I had this idea that if I could create the most potent turmeric supplement in the world, could I get the doctors here in the West to give it to the patient instead of drugs and other anti-inflammatories? It was just a theory I had. And I was like, let me try. So I worked with a factory that's right here in Florida, owned by a doctor who I've known for 10 years. And I said, listen, this is my idea. If we get the best ingredient, I think it'll work. So we did. 5 years ago, I built and formulated my main formula after all my PhD research and science research. And then I presented it to the world and prayed, and it worked. So I have tons of doctors all over the US. And that's mainly what I've accomplished, is shown doctors that we can solve chronic joint pain, acute joint pain, immune support, all these things, as long as the quality of the supplements are really good.
And how does one tell the difference? Because, everyone has like a pill or potion, or, and they're not all created equal. Like, what should people look for in a supplement when they're taking?
It's a good question. So I have a lot of people right now calling me to ask me, what should they take right now? They're like, what are you taking? I'm like, listen, I am taking my turmeric gold, a great probiotic, vitamin C and vitamin D. If I remember it, I take my zinc. That's like my right now protocol that I have to take. On a normal basis, I take that and more. But really, supplements are tough because you don't know the quality unless you take it. And you also don't know the quality unless you have blood work to tell you what's working and what's not. So what I found over the years is the Wall Street Journal or the New York Times a couple of years ago published an article that said over 75% of supplements on the shelf at big box retailers do not have the quantity of active ingredients that they publish. Rather, they're made in China or abroad somewhere, and they're full of rice and grass and wood pulp and who knows what else. So you're paying for something, but you're not actually getting it. So that really alarmed me. And then also when I pick up a supplement, I always really try to understand how much of the active ingredient is in there and how many fillers and other stuff did you put in there? How clean did you try to keep the supplement? And that's usually an indication to me of if it's like a higher quality supplement. So for the most part, I only take supplements that are from a doctor's office, like an acupuncture physician, a chiropractic office, because those doctor's level supplements are held to a higher standard. The doctor will not keep recommending it to patients if they don't hear that it works, because that's the doctor's reputation and the doctor's patient that you're handling alongside them. So that's typically who I work with or who I take.
And we have Katrina said, that's great accomplishment, especially for the medical field.
Yeah. I mean, that was my goal, is how do we present this other option? They have these great toolkits. They're going to either operate, or in the case of orthopedics, they're going to use stem cell on you or PRP, or they're going to say, Tylenol, Advil, and all that stuff over there, medicine. But what if somewhere in the middle, we gave a new option? What if we taught everyone that turmeric is the best anti-inflammatory, or the best natural anti-inflammatory?
And can you explain, because I've heard turmeric before, and it's like an old medicine that they've rediscovered now. Can you get a little bit more into details of what turmeric is and why is it considered, like, I think some people consider it like liquid gold?
Yeah, they really do. So turmeric is like the ginger plant. It's a rhizome. So it comes from the same family as ginger. It's a very powerful anti-inflammatory, antioxidant, and it's an immunomodulator. It's antiviral, antibacterial, and antifungal. So it's just so powerful of a plant. People call it like the wonder plant because it can do all that. It does what many other different things do that you would normally take for your health. And it's so preventive that for me, I stopped taking like my multi and all those other things. I was like, if I'm taking my turmeric, then I'm covered. And that's what I have found so fascinating, is if we have a plant like that, why wouldn't we take it? And also here in the US and the West, typically we have bodies that are inflamed, whether it's from eating inflammatory foods, stress, not sleeping well, eating allergenic foods to our bodies that don't suit us. So it's just so important to like baseline drop that inflammation down. And that's how we can have a better, healthier body overall.
One of the things that you said that really kind of struck me, you're talking about sleep. Now, with all this going on, including myself, there's so many people that are saying they're having problems with sleeping. How does that, what can you say towards that?
Sleep is a big topic. I have started doing hour-long workshops on the topic of sleep. If you look me up on YouTube, I have 4 videos I made last year on sleep. And I became obsessed with it after that because I pulled all the science and topics out of Ayurveda. So it's all about setting your bedroom up for good sleep, having good sleep rituals before sleep. In Ayurveda, we teach that you must be asleep by 10 p.m., which is hard nowadays. We want to stay up and read and engage and all that stuff. And I really set a hard line with myself that I have to sleep by then. Because in Ayurveda, we teach that it's almost like little garbage trucks come out at night. Think of it as like garbage trucks come out and pick up the garbage from your mind, any negative thoughts or stress and stuff like that. They come pick up negative emotions and stress that you might have had throughout the day. And then also any stress in the body, any inflammation, junk, excess proteins, anything that need to be detoxed. And those garbage trucks come out primarily from 10 to 2, because we teach a concept called circadian rhythm, or the circadian clock. So you want the support of that circadian clock from 10 to 2 to detox and purge out of the body. So you start the next day fresh. You start energized. You start clear. You have less inflammation and toxins in the body. And I have found for myself, when I sleep by 10, latest 10:30, I wake up fresh, ready to like work out and eat healthy and live a happy life. But if I sleep past 10, 10:30, you get this second wind, and then it's much harder to go to bed. And right now, I think there's higher stress, higher anxiety. And so I've been recommending ashwagandha. That's an herb from India, spelled ashwagandha as well, pronounced ashwagandha as well. Helps reduce stress in the body. I have a formula I made called Deep Sleep that I'm taking to help me sleep, because it is harder to come by good sleep right now. But it's a vicious cycle and not supportive to our immune system or our bodies or our minds or our ability to manage stress if we're not getting the good sleep.
Absolutely. And then stress is another big topic, because people are generally stressed out, but then, now we layer on this global pandemic.
I know. It's crazy. We typically are stressed. We're running around trying to do too many things. And now all of a sudden we're kind of like locked in practicing this thing called social distancing. And I was fine with it the first few weeks, but now I'm like, after a few weeks, I thought, how are we going to keep our immune system supported if we're all locked inside here? This doesn't make sense. Like, what is our adjustment? What are the mental adjustments and the physical adjustments we have to make to keep our happiness up? Because if you're not going out to eat, you're not going to have weekends out with your friends, you're not getting out in nature as much to new places, you're just walking up and down your own street and you're getting bored of it, so you don't want to go. All of that will have a toll. So I have been really practicing self-care and Ayurvedic self-care rituals and little things that make me happy, even if it means like driving to a farmer's market an hour away to buy fresh vegetables and thinking, all right, that means my food's yummier, I'm happier. Mm-hmm. Or whatever it takes, really. Happy hour with my friends on a Friday night on Zoom. It's so important to do things that relieve stress, because stress rapidly brings down the efficacy and strength of your immune system. So I even talked to a sister-in-law today and I said, listen, I know you're trying to be perfect mom and you're teaching this kid for 5 hours a day, but you need to worry about your own immune system. You need to stay healthy and strong and vibrant. You need to get outside and see fresh air once a day. You need to take care of yourself right now. This is not something that we can do passively. I think we have to actively practice yoga, meditation, self-care, all the different aspects that support a healthy body and a healthy mind.
Mm-hmm. And we have a couple comments. We have Sophia Bonnet said, thank you, Dr. Gupta. I suffer from chronic insomnia. This was very helpful. I'll check out the links.
Yeah, please do. Please do. Sleep, I find, is like that thing where if you don't have it, everything else in life seems so much harder.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I know many years ago, and I still have that bad habit. I used to have this habit of, I'm up 4, 5, 6 o'clock in the morning. And I think it was actually in the MENA group, and they were like, can you get to bed earlier? And I'm just like, no, that's the perfect, everybody's calm. My phone's not ringing. And I haven't gotten to the 10 o'clock, and I see we have a couple comments from G. She says she gets teased about her early bedtime, so now she wants to be congratulated.
Yes.
But, I try to make it a point to get to bed a little earlier, or sometimes I'm up and I'm just like, why am I up? Am I actually being productive, or am I just up? And then try to take myself to bed.
Right. No, I think it's so important to kind of understand that. What I found was I love social media, and if left to my own devices, I'll stay up way too late on it and my morning will start with it. So thus my sleep is sandwiched by it. And right now things are stressful online. What's in my feed is not relaxing. So before 10, I'm like, stop. You're an adult. You can stop this right now. You can stop this behavior and you can switch to a book. And I literally have to lecture myself. And I switch to iBooks on my phone, which is black in the back. And I'll read something that I enjoy, and that will relax me and put me to bed. It's so important that what we do right before bed feeds our mind with good things, not negative things or anxiety-inducing things. That's probably why we're getting worse sleep right now, because the news, the media, the social media, the last phone calls with friends or family who are fretting about this, our own careers and livelihoods. There's a lot to stress about. So what if we all spent the last 15 minutes of the day reading something so positive and nourishing and uplifting? Then our sleep would be filled with dreams and happiness and positive thoughts as well.
Absolutely. I'm going to go to a couple more comments. We have Barbara Bilkis saying, very necessary information. Thanks for having this guest. Absolutely great information. And Sylvia saying, so true. I guess she's talking about when you're talking about stress and sleep. And we have Andrew say he's tuning in. So we have Valerie. She says, I absolutely love what turmeric does, but I had to stop taking it because it seemed to aggravate the bleeding disorder I have. What would you recommend Ayurvedic wise?
That's a great question. So turmeric is a vasodilator. It will increase blood flow in the body. So when people are on blood thinners, we recommend that they do not take turmeric supplements. But it's probably the only known contraindication that we have. Off the top of my head, I can't think of something that will do the opposite of thinning out the blood, but I can think about it and let Niki know later.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. Whenever I get that information, I'll post it in the comments and I'll send it to Valerie. So I know her personally. We have Jane said, I cook with fresh turmeric every day as a part of my Ayurvedic diet. How does this effectiveness of fresh turmeric compare to turmeric supplements?
Sure, that's such a great question. I answer that one a lot.
Mm.
So let's talk about it. There's fresh turmeric, the plant. It looks like ginger. And in India and ancient India, we did not use fresh turmeric as much. When you take something fresh like ginger or turmeric and you dry it in the sun and you take that powder, you turn it into ground ginger, the powder, or the spiced turmeric. That is much more potent. Like if you used 2 spoons of turmeric on your food, you'd be totally disgusted because it would be overpowering of the taste of the food.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when you take turmeric, only 3% of it, so out of all of turmeric, only like 3% is the 3 curcuminoids. And only one of those, pure curcumin, is the most effective at reducing inflammation. And so right now, because inflammation is like a very large epidemic, doesn't seem like it compared to what we're dealing with now, but in general, it's an epidemic that we do deal with around the world. It causes so many different inflammatory issues in the body. Mm-hmm. Every itis in the body means inflammation. So anything that ends in itis is actually an inflammatory issue in the body. And so for that reason, taking turmeric in its most potent form of a turmeric supplement that's at least a 95% grade curcumin, and mine is a 98% grade pure curcumin, is very important. So a lot of turmeric supplements actually like throw in turmeric powder, all 3 curcuminoids. My goal was if I just did this one and then added black pepper for absorption and a little turmeric powder for the absorption, would that work? And so that's really what I'm about, is how do I show people that if we really reduce inflammation, everything else shifts. Like people tell me my allergies are gone, my joint pain is gone, my hands are moving and mobile again. I don't wake up creaky and have to wait 5 minutes before I stand up. Mm-hmm. So there's a lot that turmeric can do for us when taken in the potent form.
It's interesting that you said that because many years ago, I can't remember the doctor's name, but he had some like diet thing, and I saw listened to one of the videos, and he said he was actually studying to be a doctor, but then somehow he stumbled on, instead of just going to be a normal doctor, he went to be a dermatologist, because he said, when you look at aging, sickness, all of these things under the microscope, it was inflammation. Everything that causes wrinkles, all these diseases is inflammation. So he felt if he could cure the inflammation, it would cure people's wrinkles, their sex drive, all of these things. Yeah. And so, you're talking about inflammation, and I don't know if we talk about it enough on a regular basis, how it's connected to our health.
It's true. And right now, everyone's like, I need to protect my immune system. And my point is, you need to reduce the inflammation that's going to interfere with your immune system being able to do its job. You need to sleep so that lymphatic system of the body can really drain and purge everything from the day and be ready without any traffic jams going on to leave your immune system ready to react to everything from the outside. So it's really one of those things we forget that it's so important. And I'm here to remind us, inflammation is like the thing that we need to worry about.
Absolutely. And we have G asking, what turmeric supplement do you recommend?
So I have mine here, somewhere here, turmeric gold here. So this is the one I make. It's called turmeric gold. I make it one with ashwagandha and one without, because I thought I'd reduce the stress of the whole planet by adding ashwagandha to it. But some people like the original formula of, original turmeric gold as well. So I recommend mine. I think if you find another one from a doctor's level company, it should be good as well. But mine is the one I obviously know best.
Yes. And if you're on Facebook, I'm adding the links, and we have Natalie, who works remotely with me. I always have to thank her every week. She's putting in the links and helping to share this out. So also, by the way, if you like what you're hearing, please share it. Please tag a friend. Someone needs this information, including ourselves. I'm getting a lot from it. So definitely please do share that out. Kat says, do the effects of your formula change over time? Like, does the body build a tolerance for it, and the dosage need to change?
That's a great question. I have probably hundreds of people who are on auto ship for this product. All the people who have chronic joint pain, and a lot of them who have like hip pain, knee pain, that are, pain in their hands where they can't move their hands much. They have been taking it for years. And some of them are like little old ladies who call me. I have one named Camille. She'll say, Shivani, I'm down to 3 pills. I just need my next order, because they don't want to use the internet to do it. And they've never changed their dosage. They're just taking their regular 1 in the morning and 1 in the afternoon. I personally do increase my dosage whenever I'm concerned about my immune system. I just start to double because I just want to be protected. But that's me. Or when I'm about to travel and I really want to protect myself from anything that I'm going to get. And I have a few people who I talk to who do that. They'll take 2 turmeric in the morning or 2 in the afternoon. But that's typically just for special situations. We don't need to do that on a daily basis.
Absolutely. Okay, G said, thank you. I'll go with your recommendation, add it to my daily vitamins.
Awesome.
Yeah, and so we have the links to your Facebook and your website for Fusionary Formulas, as well as ShivaniGupta.com. So if people want to check that out. And you also have a Facebook group, right, that you talk about your products and services and how to help people.
Yeah, I just love teaching. For me, teaching is like the best part of what I get to do. With the supplement company, it's already made, it's built, doctors are recommending it. It's beautifully selling online to those people who need it. So I made the Fusionary community just as a space where when I'm struggling with something with my health, I can like go through it with everybody. So right now I feel like we're all more sedentary. I don't know about you guys, but I love sitting now and not running around and moving. And so all my people who do have that joint pain, I know that it's going to flare up right now. So I was like, guys, let's get moving. I'll encourage you. So that community is kind of where I get to do that.
Awesome. And we kind of approached self-care a little bit. For people who that's a foreign word, how do you explain that, and how do you ease someone into that who feels, I just got to be busy, I got lots of stuff to do?
Right. I think a lot of us, our nature is to be busy, and we like to run around and do things and feel accomplished and feel like we're doing something. But truly, I think modern science has even proven to us now that meditation is so powerful. Yoga is so powerful and good for us. There's so many things about slowing down and being mindful that are beneficial. One scientific way to look at it is the parasympathetic and the sympathetic nervous system. When you're in fight or flight mode, the body is not going to digest properly. The body is going to send all of its resources to just run. And you're going to have all this stress hormone flying through the body, which causes weight gain. It causes you to not be able to focus. And anything can cause that, right? Anything. Reading an email, getting a text, who knows what can send you into fight or flight mode. Versus if you're in your other sympathetic, I think it's parasympathetic, sympathetic. Yes, out of the two, when you're in your rest and digest mode, that's when your body can finally digest what you're eating, relax. You have relaxation hormones flowing. Your body's functioning properly and it can do what it's supposed to do. And so when you don't practice self-care, if you are just like go, 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 you're never going to allow the body to be de-stressed and relaxed. So I just teach self-care from the perspective of what can you do today that makes you feel good? It can be free, it can be fast, it can be cheap, or it can be like a luxurious spa day if that's what you're into. So I teach like tea time is me time. Get a cup of tea and sit there multiple times a day. Focus on the tea, sip it, the whole thing. Don't talk to others, don't run around, don't drink it while walking. Just sit and like check in. How do I feel? Oh, my shoulders are tight. Okay, maybe I've had a stressed out day and I need the heating pad. Or can I take a hot shower to release that tension? Or what do I need to do so that I wake up refreshed tomorrow? Or what do I need to pack to eat so that I am like fed for whatever I've committed to tomorrow? So it's just a little bit of understanding, what does this body, what do you need to be mentally, emotionally, and physically happy, and putting a value to that. Today I took a longer shower and I felt like $1,000,000. Just taking time to take a longer shower. I was like, thank you. That was good self-care today. And then we also have self-care rituals that are detoxing to the body. And I've made a ton of videos on those as well, like using a tongue scraper is very powerful from Ayurveda, or doing oil pulling. And all of that self-care that's detoxing can be beneficial right now for the immune system.
Absolutely. We have another question. Arthur asks, What's the best substitute for zinc? Zinc is extremely hard to find right now in stores.
I know, I looked for it. I should have bought it much earlier. There's no real replacement that I know of. When it comes to these minerals, I would Google what foods have the most zinc and eat those. Sometimes when I need iron, I just eat more spinach. I'm like, there, I got it in its natural form, which we know probably absorbs better anyway. Off the top of my head, I don't know that list, but I'm going to look it up too.
Okay.
Certain supplements will be harder to get. And that's why I think it's important to get the ones we need now and start taking them regularly. Vitamin C, vitamin D, turmeric, I think are mega important. There's a probiotic that I love that most of the doctors I know carry, and I can't get to the doctor right now. Most of them are closed. So I called the company and I was like, you need to send me a case and I'm going to put it on my own website because everyone's calling me, asking me for a probiotic right now. So I need some stock. So zinc, I don't have a clear answer, but I would look it up by food.
Okay. And we have a question from Barbara. How well does turmeric work for a person with CKD on dialysis?
Good question. I have no idea. I don't know what CKD is. I've never heard of it. If it's anything where blood flow is increased or there's a blood thinner, then that's an issue. As long as you're not on blood thinners, I tell people you can always talk to your doctor about it. Or you can try, a 1 week, 2 week supply, take it in a small dose.
I think that's chronic kidney disorder.
Chronic kidney disorder. I would have to look it up.
Okay.
That's one of those things. A lot of times, if it's so specific, you have to kind of research what are the pathways that issue exists in. Especially when you're dealing with kidneys or liver, you have to watch out with supplements. You have to be careful.
Yeah, chronic kidney. Yeah, absolutely. And then we have Valerie saying, self-care is so necessary, and thank you for defining rest and slowing down as a part of that.
Yeah, a lot of people think of self-care as like, I have to go to the salon or the spa or get a massage. None of that's existing for a little while right now. So why don't we look at it as a long hot shower or a meditation that you listen to online or free yoga online or just a cup of tea? There's so many ways. A walk out in nature where the other day I did a walk with my kids and I said, guys, let's name 3 things we're grateful for. They weren't getting it. And finally I was like, I'm grateful for this bush having pink flowers and this thing. And it created all of our mindsets in the end to look for all the beauty around us. And it was 100 times better walk than any other walk we had done. So I find
mindfulness.
Yeah, mindfulness and just like soaking in joy and gratitude because you choose to. That I find is self-care as well. Yeah.
I was I've shared it online. I've been learning to swim because I have anxieties and don't swim and things like that. And my swim instructor, Thaddeus, he's into blue mindfulness. So when you're saying that, it kind of reminds me, because one time we had a meeting and we're having a meeting at a restaurant. So he was just like, okay, the next couple of minutes, concentrate everything, like what are you eating? What does it taste like? What does it feel like getting so mindful into that present moment. And I think that also is just that slowing down, right? Because we want to be a million places at one time. And just to slow down and, and be in that moment.
Yeah, it's so important. And it makes life so much richer.
And how do you see the, because now a lot of people are talking about COVID-19, corona virus. What are some things that you could say directly connecting to that? Because there's a lot of things online and it's a lot of anxiety ridden, stress ridden, but like, what can you say in terms of like self-care and taking care of yourself as much as possible within the moment of this pandemic?
The best way to explain it is how I'm personally managing it, because I can give it to you more directly that way. For me, my number one priority is how do I boost my immune system? And my immune system is what's going to support me when I eventually possibly get this thing, right? The majority of us are either going to get it or we're going to get a vaccine. We don't know yet. And we don't know what we want when it comes to that either. So when it comes to this particular virus, the way I look at it is just like if any virus was going to come at me, let's say we were in cold and flu season. I don't want to be knocked out by the flu for 2 weeks. I heard it was awful this year. So through cold and flu season, what did I do? I wanted to be either a non-symptomatic, in this case, a non-symptomatic person who gets this thing, or I just want to avoid it completely. So I look at it as the immune system. How do I boost my immune system? Number 1, boost gut health. the gut and digestive fire working properly means the immune system is supported. Number 2, how do I support good lymphatic drainage and a lymphatic system that is moving and clear? Number 3, how do I reduce my inflammation in my body so my body is so supported that when anything comes at it, it can focus and go handle that thing and get rid of it? Number 4, how do I sleep so my body is refreshed, renewed, strong, and like ready for the day to take on anything, not like slow and lethargic and tired, and then I want to eat worse, not exercise, and all the other things that come with that. And then how do I actively manage my stress? These are like the 5 things that I'm focused on. And then when it comes to self-care, I would call that a good 6. Within self-care, there's certain things you can do that are specifically detoxing to the body. I don't have the patience right now to do a full detox. I contemplated it at the beginning. I was like, you could juice fast your home. You could detox your home. But I think that wasn't allowing for the fact that overall, this is stressful. We are trying to figure out how to support our staffs, support our businesses, support our children through this. And so I realized detoxing might be overreaching. So instead of detoxing through food, I'm keeping certain food rules for myself that keep inflammation down. Like I'm gluten-free, that keeps my inflammation down for me and my body. And I try to reduce dairy and sugar as well. But then I do self-care rituals like my tongue scraper, my oil pulling, dry brushing, and these things support me overall. So it's like those 6 things I have on and off days. I consider it yin and yang. I'm not expected to be perfect every day. But if every other day I do some of these things, 2 or 3 out of the 6, I'm happy with myself and I just keep moving.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you for that. We have authors saying, thank you, Dr. Shivani Gupta, vitamin C, D, zinc, and turmeric.
Yep.
Yes. And so you do like every now and then, because I'm in the group and I sometimes see you do different challenges and do videos all the time. And I think that's a great group of people who are trying to get some more information and kind of get in contact with you. What are some other ways that people could get in contact with you or get more information about your products and services?
Sure. So Facebook and Instagram are probably the 2 best ways because I do spend a lot of time there hanging out with people. I have a community called the Fusionary community. So I teach a lot on like health and reducing our inflammation there. I started one called Mom's Self-Care Quarantine 2020 because when this thing started, I was like, I, like everyone, need to keep my sanity. We need to support each other. So that's another group I created, and us moms and women are supporting each other a lot in there, which is really cool. I have my Fusionary Formulas Facebook page. I have a Dr. Shivani Facebook page, and both have Instagram. And then I try to post on YouTube. So in Fusionary, I probably have like 100 videos on YouTube by now. And then as Dr. Shivani, I probably have 10 to 15 up so far. So yeah. And then the websites are fusionaryformulas.com and shivanigupta.com.
Awesome. And I put that in. So anyone who's watching on YouTube, I'm not able to add the links here, but I'll go back, once it's, complete and add those links. But we have the links you sent us via email. Thank you very much.
Sure.
And I just put in the Facebook group link on there. So definitely worth checking out. What drives you in this field? What keeps you connected to wanting to give? Because I think it takes a certain type of person and personality type to just want to give and help people and continue to do it. Like you said, hey, I got products already. They're in the doctor's office, but you're still like, I want to do a video. I want to help. I want to, what keeps you going?
I thought about that in the last couple of weeks because I was like, you know what? Do people want to hear this, or do they want to sit at home and eat what they're going to eat and drink what they're going to drink, all for comfort, and nobody wants to hear me talk about reducing inflammation? And so I did 2 weeks of Tea Time is Me Time on my page, and I got all these messages back. People were like, thank you for talking about the fact that we just keep gaining weight and we're worried about it a little bit. Or thank you for talking about all the things you're talking about. So that's what really keeps me moving forward, because I have always been obsessed with health. I've always valued this as the most important thing. My own family has had so many different diseases and things that came later in life from not managing inflammation when they were young. So my whole family was like hardworking, focused, successful people. But then all of a sudden they'd hit 65 and it would be like heart attack, stroke, amputation. And I was like, that has to stop. I don't want to watch that happen to my parents after seeing it happen to my grandparents. I don't want it to happen to me. Like, this has to be something generationally that we stop. So that's always been my mission, is if inflammation causes all that, let's start self-care and health earlier. And so that's really why I'm enjoying talking to everyone right now, is because I feel like maybe it's time for people to listen. Like, maybe people are ready to listen, since our immune system is something we're deeply concerned about. And it is tied to inflammation, lymphatics, and all of that.
Awesome.
So yeah, I just love teaching.
Awesome. Well, we're glad you're doing it. Definitely great information. A lot of jewels here.
Thank you.
So before we wrap up, I like to ask this question, and I'm curious to see what your answer would be. If you had access to a time machine, where would you go and why? Past, present, or future?
Oh my goodness. I would go in the future, because I want to know if people actually ever understand that by taking care of your health now, you can lead this beautiful, long, healthy life later. Like, I wonder if all the people around me, I have so many people around me who I admire, who are wellness doctors, who are teaching the world how to be well. I wonder if, like, 30 years from now, everyone listened. And so our generations are like vibrant. We're like in our 60s, 70s, and 80s, glowing, happy individuals. Like, I think that would be really cool.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, thank you again so much for coming on the live, coming on the circle, sharing your information and your services. And I really enjoyed this chat with you.
Thank you. Me too. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So, if you're watching this, I want to thank also the people who are on live with us. We have people on Niki Lopez Creative. We have people on Outclick Magazine. On Facebook, we also have the YouTube live channel. So thank you all who've connected with us live, threw in some questions and comments and feedback. It's always, more enriching with that. And also the people who's going to watch it on the replay, thank you so much. We'll be here again Tuesday at 8:30 to 9 Eastern, and I will see you all next week. Thank you. Bye.
Bye, everyone.